Okay, that was good. Let's talk about it. Yeah. So at the end, when you say that one line about how you hate your roommate, yeah, we want you to be vitriolic. Oh, okay, great. And a little bit faster. Okay, cool. Got it. Faster and vitriolic. We're ready? We're rolling? Nope, not yet. Okay. Which line was it? Don't ask. Don't ask. You're going to look like an idiot. Vitriolic. What's that word even mean? I think it means anger. You go through the scene. I hate my roommate. Okay, thanks so much for coming in. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. You have a good rest of your day, okay? Welcome to episode 3 of In the Moment, an Anytown podcast. My name, once again, is Adam Louder. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is going to be an episode that is pretty honest and deep and personal. And I want to discuss some things around identity and rejection and how we as actors deal with this on a 24/7, 365 basis. I think this is the elephant in the room as it relates to purpose and joy and your overall well-being as an actor. And I think a lot of people neglect to talk about the seriousness of this issue. And I would love to take this episode to jump into that and tell you a little bit about me and my journey, and hopefully what I do share with you relates or resonates on some level. From an early age, I had this perpetual feeling that I just wasn't very lovable, or I wasn't well liked, or I didn't belong. And that was not because of something that happened to me. It was just something that I lived with inside. And it wasn't the easiest thing to talk about. And I don't think it was the easiest thing to recognize in the earlier years of my life. And I started to develop a desire to act, express, perform, sing, imitate, these types of things. And I think what I was trying to do was create a version of me that I could respect, because I didn't respect myself for so long, because I didn't think that I was worthy of that. And I think what that ultimately laid before me was a strategy, a habit, and a desire to become something that I liked and something that other people liked. If I could be like the person on TV that had accolades and love and money and fame and all these things, then maybe that would help me feel better inside, because the world would be reflecting back to me how great I was. And it took a lot of years to realize that that would never happen. There was no amount of love, accolades, respect, admiration, being impressive, or accomplishing or achieving things that helped me feel better on the inside, that didn't last more than just a few seconds. Because the dopamine of somebody complimenting you is short-lived. It's not a very long-lasting thing. Because I think very quickly that because that negative voice is so powerful, it's not hard to have someone look at you and say, "You're so great." And you go, "Oh, wow, that feels good." And then start to erase what they're saying by, well, they don't really know me. They haven't seen me on my bad days. That was just a lucky performance. I'm not really like that most of the time. And so on and so forth. And this can ultimately lead to a cycle where I continually try to, in an insane way, produce an outcome by taking a strategy that hasn't been working. And what I found was I was spiraling deeper and deeper and deeper into a desire to fill that void within myself, and 2, to further enmesh or deepen the grooves of the record of my life and strategies that left me feeling more of the same. And that spiral can only happen so much and so often and last so long before you end up at a rock bottom. And I've certainly been there. And the strategy that I had been committing to and designing was leading me to a life of misery, of perpetual misery. I was doing what I loved. It wasn't acting's fault. It was my fault in the way that I related myself to acting, and my number one desire of becoming great in the eyes of the world was leaving me miserable when I was alone with myself. And this is dangerous. We all do this, whether you're an actor or you have another thing that you love a lot, or you have a passion or something that you're pursuing. We can try to seek external validation, approval, admiration for our achievements, our performances, our accomplishments, and realize more often than not, the more we do this, that it doesn't really sustain. It isn't really enough. And as Denzel Washington said, and as my former acting teacher used to tell me, if you want something you never had, you have to do something you never did. And so it was time for me to implement a new strategy. Being an actor is really, really hard because it's all of me that you're seeing and rejecting 99 times out of 100 if you're auditioning on a regular basis. And because I was moving in the direction of my desire and consistently falling short, I would just load the chamber over and over of, nope, you got to do better. You got to double down, triple down. You got to dedicate yourself more. You got to lose sleep. You got to all these things, because maybe what I was doing wasn't enough, instead of looking at what I was doing and the way I was going about it and checking to see if it was the healthiest thing to do and if it was the thing that I really wanted to do. And it took me years to finally get to that point where I was ready to admit that I was fighting a losing battle and that the prison I was in was one that I had built myself. And that led me to a different life strategy and totally different things, which I can attribute to more of a spiritual pursuit that ultimately was responsible for satiating that inner void that I'd had since I was a child, that I was still feeling today in a deeper way. Once I fulfilled that, not because it originated in me, the ability never originated in me, it was something that a power greater than myself was responsible for giving to me. It wasn't until then that I was able to reorient myself to acting in a new, healthy, productive way. But the old version of my life was audition as much as possible, say yes to every single thing you can as it relates to the acting industry. Get better and better and better. Become the best actor in the world, and look at your notes tab and see if your rate of audition, callback, and booking is at least on an upward trend. And that was my day-to-day life, a complete obsession with success in the most competitive industry I could find. Acting is an extremely competitive industry where the odds of success are extremely low. And success, of course, is developed and set by the person pursuing that success. So whatever it means to you is whatever it means to you. What it meant to me was riches, fame, glory. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be the best actor that anybody ever saw. And so it took me dedicating myself 24 hours a day, dreaming about it, and during waking hours, doing everything I could to make sure that dream became a reality through my actions. And I can't tell you how many times I auditioned and obsessed over it, and it led to rejection. And because acting was fully my identity, if I wasn't acting, what was I? If I wasn't booking something, what was I? My identity was acting. Therefore, if I was being rejected in my mind, rejected, even though it's simply, I wasn't being picked for the role, somebody else was, which is because of many, many different variables, that many of which I have no control over, I was starting to develop an identity of a reject. I am a reject. I am a reject. I am a failure. I am a loser. And that truly was the problem. And so I found myself in this death cycle. Every audition I would go to, I would see it as my next chance of pulling myself out of this horribly miserable time in my life where I'm financially destitute, where I'm living paycheck to paycheck, where I'm working side job after side job and spending every waking free moment preparing some sort of audition material or something that would get me to the next level. When I would go into the audition that I thought was going to take me to that next level, whether it be a commercial audition that was going to pay me $40,000 so I could make it through to get to that other big audition for that major film, small guest star on a TV show or what have you. Okay, great. Then this is going to do it. So I would go into a commercial audition, for instance, maybe the biggest one I had done before. And you know how it is. You have a small slot. I met the person I was reading with. It was 2-person little scene for a commercial. We're on a first date. And I was given the material right beforehand, and I went over it for 5 minutes or so. And then me and her were called in, and we went inside and we sat down at this table, and we had our individual seats, and it was one guy with a camera and a tripod. And I saw 2 TV screens turned vertically with the sides, with the script, right, on the monitors. And I went, oh, wow, I had the script in front of me, but I also have it there. But then my scene partner is here. So I was kind of like, there's 3 places for me to look. Of course, I'm nervous. And now this guy's telling me all these things at rapid fire speed. You're going to slate your name. I want you to slate your height. I want you to look at the camera. Then I want you to say your union affiliation, your hair color, right? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, great. And then I want you to do the scene. And then he said the same thing to her. Okay, guys, ready? This is how the scene's going to go. Boom, 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 boom. You're going to say your lines. You're going to turn out this way. You're going to stand up. You're going to sit down. You're going to look at me. And then I'm going to say, can I take your order? Okay, and then we're done. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So, and action. Slate. Hi, my name is Adam Louder. I am 6'2", brown hair, brown eyes. And that's not a very good slate. So he's like, let's do it again. This time they'll say, and go. Do it again. I managed to make it through without saying, He turns the camera quickly over to the next person, and she slates her information. And then he says, and action. And I'm looking at my script. I'm kind of glancing around the room, looking at the monitor. I'm looking at her. I'm trying to interact with her, but I'm a little confused because I don't want to forget the line. And the whole thing was very chaotic, and there were a lot of little blocking things that we had to do and fill the water up and blah, blah. And then he said, hey, can I take your order? And I looked at him and I felt very confused because I was like, I thought you were asking me something. And he said, yeah, that's because I'm a human being. And that was the end of the audition. Thanks for coming in. Real passive aggressive like. And then I was in the elevator and I said to my scene partner, well, I don't think that went very well. And she goes, no. And then I got on the subway and I went home. And that's just a day in the life of an actor. You have the auditions that are coming up that you think are going to change your life. And you put all the pressure on the audition, even though you shouldn't. And everyone tells you not to. But you can't help it. You're cramming the night before. And you're at work and you're thinking about it. And then you forgot the order. Oh, what was your order? I'm so sorry. And then your manager's like, hey, what are you doing? Get it together. And you're like, yeah, no, by the way, I need to ask off of work tomorrow because I have an audition for this hour, even though you need the money because your rent is late and you need the tips and you need those hours to reflect on the paycheck so that you can actually pay rent and not be homeless. You say, okay, yeah, I'll get the shift covered. And then you go to the POS system and you're like, oh crap, what was the order? And then you ask the person thinking, yeah, but you need to switch with me. And okay, I worked it out. I got the audition tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to work for a couple hours. Then that person's going to take over for me. Then I'm going to run to the audition. I hope I'm not late. Oh my gosh, there's a delay on the subway. I'm just going to run. Run to the audition. Oh no, I'm sweating through my stuff. I have hyperhidrosis. I sweat everywhere. You get up to the audition and you say, okay, I worked on it all night. I'm dead tired, but this is it. What did my audition technique teachers say? They said, make small talk, but not too much small talk. Make sure you don't talk about the weather because that's cliche. You need to talk about something to do with your varied, interesting, unique life. And that's maybe something that's similar to the character. Your left side of your face is better. So, don't show them the right side of your face if you're filming. So maybe, you get in the room and, oh, how you doing? Yeah, my name is Adam. Your name's Evan. Oh, your name is Sally. That's nothing close to, oh gosh, what was I saying? Oh, right, yeah. So the weather's crazy. Oh, I wasn't supposed to talk about the weather. And they said, okay, it's fine, just relax. Have a seat, slate your name to the camera, and then we're going to do the scene. Do you have any questions? And of course you have questions, but you forgot every question that you ever had. No, of course. I don't want to look like I'm incompetent. No, I got the scene. I get it. And then you're looking down at your script and you're like, oh my gosh, page 3. Oh no, where's page 1? And you flip it. Oh, can you just give me a second? They said, yeah, it's okay. Just remember to slate your name. Oh yeah, of course. My name is Sally. Evan. Can we start over? Yeah, it's okay. No, I'm good. And then you slate. Can you give me a second to turn around? Yeah, of course. Oh no, that's going to be recorded. They're going to see that I'm really nervous. When they're looking back, it's fine. And you turn around and you try to emotionally prepare for the moment. You say, I don't even know what the first moment is. What am I doing in this scene? I have the line. Wait, what's that line? You do the scene. You do it terribly. You do it terribly. And then they say, okay, that was good. Let's talk about it. Yeah. So at the end, when you say that one line about how you hate your roommate, yeah, we want you to be vitriolic. Oh, okay, great. And a little bit faster. Okay, cool. Got it. Faster and vitriolic. We're ready? We're rolling? Nope, not yet. Okay. Which line was it? Don't ask. Don't ask. You're going to look like an idiot. Vitriolic. What's that word even mean? I think it means anger. You go through the scene. I hate my roommate. Okay, thanks so much for coming in. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. You have a good rest of your day, okay? And then you're in the elevator and you're like, that was the big audition. That was the one that was going to change my life. And I think I ruined my chances. And you know what they said to me is just like a duck with water, just let it roll off your back. Great. I'm going to let it roll off my back. And you're sitting on the subway and you're like, I'm going to think about something else. Look at this gentleman here on the subway. And, you know, he's got nothing but his entire life on the subway with him. He's got 9 suitcases and he's crying and he's clipping his fingernails. And you're like, wow, this is a crazy story here. This is unbelievable. This guy's an interesting person. I bet he's a better actor than I am because I'm certainly the worst. And then you're like, wait, I'm not supposed to think about the audition. But you do, because you get back home and you realize you're late for rent, but you forgot you had a bed bug, right? You found a bed bug. And you need to tell your landlord, but you don't want to approach your landlord because you're going to get evicted because you haven't given him the rent. It's 4 days late, and it's on the 5th day, he's going to kick you out. So you see him in the hallway, you're like, oh, hey, how you doing? And he's like, yeah. How you doing? I'm like, I found a bed bug, you know? And they're like screaming at you because it's not their problem. And then you're like, I think I looked up New York law and, you know, pretty sure it is. But I don't want to make them mad because they're already mad and I'm late on the rent. And, I skipped the shift to make the audition so that I could, you know, bomb in front of these really important casting directors, but that's fine. How am I going to make up this money? And then you start, can I sell a kidney? What can I do? You know? And that's how you spend your evening before you realize, oh yeah, I haven't eaten. And you realize, oh yeah, I didn't get a haircut because I couldn't afford it. And I probably look like an idiot. And I didn't dress like the part enough to be seen as the part, and you're, I'm not supposed to be dwelling on the audition. I'm not supposed to dwell on the audition. And what happens after a week? Nothing. And then you fly home for the holidays and you're sitting around the table and they're like, hey, Mr. Movie Star, how's it going? Don't forget us when you're famous. And you're like, yeah, well, how's it going? Well, I auditioned for this thing, and you drop a couple names. And oh, that's amazing. And all you're thinking is how bad you are in the audition, how you're not going to get it anyway. And yeah, you know, we'll see. And don't forget us when you're famous. And you said that already. And definitely not going to be famous. That seems to be true. And it's okay. And I'm not in it for the fame. You know, I'm in it for the work. And are you in it for the work or are you in it for the fame? And you don't really know, but you realize, wow, your cousin's gotten really big. Your nephew's growing up. And how long have I been away? Man, you've been in New York for 4 years. How long are you going to do it until, you know, you get that big break? I don't know. It could happen any day. It hasn't happened. And then you get the email, call back. Now you're re-energized. You can't wait to get back on the flight. You can't wait to get back, and you're going to cram all day on the flight, all night at home, and you're going to kill it. And you call back and it's going to be great. And you do it all over again. You're sitting in the room. The room before you get into the casting office, or the room that you audition in, and you're sitting there looking at all of your clones, and you're like, oh, that guy's definitely more handsome than me. Oh, that guy has way better hair than me. Oh, that person probably has better training than me. That person's older than me. I bet they're more interesting. They have more life experience. Oh, I can't psych myself out. I'm going to try not to mouth my lines under my breath, but that's what they're doing. So maybe I should look like I'm doing that. Or maybe I should be different from the crowd. And then you all hear the actor who's ahead of you scream in the audition room, and you all perk up and listen. I'm not going to do it like that. And then you hear laughter. Maybe I should do it like that. And then you find out you were never even considered for this part. It was already going to be given to Evan Peters. Why did you even audition? I don't know. But this was supposed to be my potential big break, and I got a call back, but none of the guys that were in the callback got it, and it went to Evan Peters. And so maybe the next one, right? And you continue this cycle. And it's, I think, pretty easy to see that an actor can get really, really caught in the cycle of making their acting career their identity. But their identity is wrapped up in their acting career. But their acting career is mostly rejection more than anything. And so what's your identity? I'm a reject. I'm a reject. And the thing that may have given you some confidence when you first started to pursue acting was the fact that people said, maybe you have something finally that you can do well. And you're like, oh, maybe so. And the fact that you felt already like a reject or an outsider pushed you into acting, and now you're acting, and what's happening in the acting world is that you're feeling more and more like something to be rejected. And that's kind of the loop that plays inside your mind. And this negative thinking spiral can really bring you to the rock bottom of your own life, a prison of your own making. It can lead to addiction, and it can lead you to financial destitution, and it can lead you to nothing but negative thinking and dark thoughts. And you can see how quickly this becomes a really, really difficult battle and an impossible one to win. And what it did for me was it led me to rolling around on the floor at 2 a.m. screaming, this isn't fair. Because you listen to a podcast about Andrew Garfield and how his career is just everything you wish you had. And he's everything you'll never be. And if I could have just had a sliver of what he's gotten, maybe the world would see that I'm not a reject and I do have value. And maybe they'd validate and approve and accept me or a piece of me. And I looked at my life and I was like, what am I doing? What is wrong with me? How have I gotten here? And it led me to admitting that I was not okay. I had to admit that my life strategy had left me at rock bottom. And those decisions were decisions I made. And yes, acting is difficult. And yes, life is totally unfair. And yes, sometimes the deck is stacked against you. But what part do I play in all of this? And I realized I built the prison that I was living in one bar at a time. And I needed to find acceptance, validation, and value outside of something that I could lose. And so that came from a power greater than myself. I started to get reintroduced to God, a relationship with God, actually, a real one. And then that ironically led to me dying to acting, and I didn't really care about acting anymore because I was now being fulfilled by something that was so much more valuable. And over time, I was reintroduced to acting in a new way, in a balanced way, in a healthy way, because my life was no longer dedicated to self-seeking, self-reliance, self-aggrandizement, and selfishness, but instead it was leading me to a life of service. And me recovering spiritually helped me actually love my neighbor. And that's what acting became for me. And it was a rebirth. And what was born in the freshness of being was all the things that I loved about acting. And to begin with, I loved that acting could be seen as the embodiment of empathy and compassion. That I could ask myself, what would it be like to walk in the shoes of another man? How could I bring my artistic or creative gifts, whatever I may be given, to bring this part to life so that I could help others feel less alone in their art? As Stella Adler said, life beats you down and crushes your soul on a daily basis, but good art, good storytelling, and good acting reminds you that you have one. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to remind people that they're not alone. I want to remind people that they're alive, man. This is a beautiful gift, this life, and that you can help other people realize that too through your art and through serving a story and your choices. Bringing a character to life, helping others realize that they're not alone. They have also been experiencing things other people have too. And now that's the pursuit of my life. And it's no longer about trying to climb a ladder or trying to be validated by the world or trying to help other people realize that I have something to offer. And building a prison within a prison within a prison. I don't need to do that anymore because I've been set free. And so I hope that you guys have felt less alone in listening to this podcast. If you've been a part of experiences like these that I've described here today, I really hope that this can help you realize that the it factor that you're hoping other people see is already within you, that you've been validated and approved and accepted because you've been loved, because you're here, because you're created. And I believe you were created for a purpose and designed with something in mind, that when you're in touch with that purpose and close to that being that created you, that you can actually be folded into something that will serve someone else. You can love someone through your art. I hope you can realize that. That's definitely my prayer. You know, there was a lot of peace that was given to me through this serenity prayer, which is very popular, but very profound. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. My spiritual destitution was built on a strategy of trying to change the things I couldn't. I can't change somebody else's opinion of me. I can't change who I was born as. I can't change somebody else's decisions to make them serve me. That's never going to work. I can accept the things I can not change. I can change the things I can with courage that God's given me, and I can be granted wisdom to see the difference. I am no less passionate about acting than I ever was. It's just no longer the God in my life. I have an actual relationship with God, and it's changed my life as an actor. The irony of ironies is that my acting has never been better. Feedback's never been better. Projects have never been better that I've been working on, and I've never been more productive. But my happiness and my self-respect and my well-being, my inner peace is not predicated on my accomplishments, my achievements, or my works, because I've already been validated, approved of, loved by something so great and so beautiful that nothing I could do could ever earn that. So it's by grace that I've been given this beautiful gift, and that fills me up every day in a way that no achievement ever could. I know everybody's journey is an individual one. Whatever you have going on in your life, whatever that hole maybe within you is, or what that negative voice is saying, I just want you to know it's just not true. It's not true. You are, I feel, beautifully and wonderfully made. You have a great purpose, a great service that you're here to offer to the world and to people. I hope and I pray that wherever you are listening to this podcast episode, you find the peace you need to sustain yourself so that you can move forward in a healthy way. And if you're already finding that, I'm just so happy for you. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, listening to this, and giving your time to this podcast and to anything else that I've posted. I hope it's been helpful. And until next time, my name is Adam Lauder. Much love to you guys.